Call to order the joint public hearing between the Lynn City Council and the Lynn Planning Board. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Counsel Barton, absent Counsel Cahill.
Present.
Present Counsel Capano, absent Counsel Chakutis.
Present.
Present Counsel Calucci. Present Counsel Seer. Present Counsel LaPierre.
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey, absent Counsel Net.
Present.
Present Counsel Trahan. Present Counsel Walsh, absent.
Can we all rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to turn over the chairmanship to Chairman Bob Stillian so he can conduct his own roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Steve Upton.
Present.
Dave Angeli.
Present.
Paul Price.
Present.
Robert Stillian.
Present. All present, council present.
We are all here. We are all here pursuant to the requirements of Chapter 121A. And in doing so, we're going to open a public joint hearing for anyone wishing to speak in favor of the Gateway Residence on Washington project and the Chapter 121A project.
Good evening. Peggy Phelps, representing Neighborhood Development Associates, 10 Church Street, Lynn, Mass., along with our partners, Mr. Thomas Bauer from Hub Holdings and Mr. Thomas O'Malley from the AFL-CIO Pension Trust Fund. As you know, it's taken us a long while to get here, but we're finally here. The project, if approved tonight, we're expecting it to start in late September. But before we go forward, I first of all want to thank the Lynn City Council and the Planning Board for your continued support throughout the entire process for this project. As you know, the project is a 5-story wood frame building consisting of 71 rental units. It contains 18 one-bedroom, 46 two-bedroom, and 7 three-bedroom units. It also has retail space on the first floor of 2,000 square feet. This project is so important to the Washington Street corridor as it is catalytic to the whole area. It has already spurred other development along the corridor, such as 714 Washington Street, which will be 14 one-bedroom units and 4 retail spaces on the first floor, and also the redevelopment of Smuggler's Cove with an urban agenda grant from DHCD. So within a few years, you will see a lot of life and vitality along the corridor. Tonight we're here to approve the project under Chapter 121A under the Massachusetts General Laws. It meets all the criteria of the 121, and in your packages you have the full application that we submitted to the state, and also a rendering of the new building along with the sources and uses, the site plan, and also the assessor's map so you can see where the property is in case you don't know. But we believe that the project meets all the criteria. I don't know if you need me to go through it all. I think it's all been in your packages, so I think you'll be well versed in that. And I just want to say that we're in full support, and we thank you for your support in approving the Chapter 121. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Oh, here we go.
Calvin Anderson, 12 Concord Street in Lynn. But prior to 6 years ago, I lived right across the street from this site at 80 Sagamore Street. And I lived with this project in its infancy, and I'm actually more familiar with it than most people. I'm speaking emphatically in favor of this, by the way. In fact, today is almost like I feel like I'm an uncle and we're having the baby delivered.
Congratulations.
Because you might have noticed in your site plan assessment that there's remnants of a park there. Now, that was a pocket park called Gateway Park, created by a group that we put together, a volunteer-driven beautification group called Gateway Project for Lynn. It's still around 15 years later. Now, we started that project because there was, at one time, before Elhand owned the property, it was a defunct city parking lot. So it was we had an agreement with the parking department to essentially caretake what was exactly 6 parking spaces. So we created what is in urban lingo a pocket park. It was used by all kinds of people for many years. We had cultural events there. There was always people there enjoying themselves from the neighborhood, and people from all walks of life enjoyed it. We watched it grow because we had volunteers gave a lot of flora to the project. A lot of that large flora has been since transplanted to Cook Street Park, and we're hoping it's going to thrive up there just as well. Now, when we first opened this up, we didn't know what was going to be dedicated, but in September of 2001, the Twin Towers fell. So when we dedicated this the next spring, this is sacred ground in Lynn, which is in the memory of those lives lost on September 11th. So I hope you'll keep that as part of your legacy, maybe a plaque or whatever. Also, a couple of things that I asked, I think, a few months ago when this site plan first came up. There's a tot lot of some sort over to virtually where the former Gateway Park used to be, which is where I've highlighted in black here. And I'm unclear if that's for just the residents or if it's for the neighborhood children as well. Now, there's a tot lot up the street, and this would be more of a restful wayside for the parents to reflect. And I'm just hoping that you're going to be opening that up to the public. Or Elhand owns some property right up the street, which it's been talked about over the years. Maybe make that another Gateway Park. It's the other side of the small business there, the cabinet shop, and there's a tot lot, but then there's a lot that I understand the owners gave to the city a few years ago because it's unbuildable by today's, it's two tiny lots that now even one house couldn't be there without a zoning board appeal. So I'm just hoping that there's going to be a pocket park of some sort of in the tradition of Gateway Park, which has been there off and on for 10 to 12 years. And by the way, if anybody wants to go before the jackhammers come, there's still a few violets and daylilies left. Dig them up, take them. We've moved them already to about 10 other sites. And there's still life there. But remember, it's dedicated as Gateway Park to the memory of those lives lost on September 11th, 2001. And I don't know of any other tangible spot in the city that has that. So I just want to welcome this project, and I can't wait to see shovels in the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Anyone else wish to speak in favor?
Seth Albaum, 7 Central Square, Unit 303. I'm in favor, and I'm speaking to share why, the two biggest reasons why I'm in favor of this project. Number one, the retail space located right by North Shore Community College, so that students can easily access it, and hopefully it will contain more than just a convenience store or two. And the fact that Smuggler's Cove is a part of the project, and hopefully will be, the building's exterior hopefully will be well preserved because of its unique character. I think it's an asset to the area as well. So I just wanted to go on the record as being in favor and to share the biggest reason why I'm in favor. And I'm looking forward to a few new neighbors as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Seth.
Good evening. My name is Tom Bauer, Hub Holdings. I just wish to thank the council and the planning organization for meeting, and I want to commend Lynn Housing and Neighborhood Development on the efforts that they have made to make the building better, and that's what we'll deliver. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
there's the planning board.
The planning board, excuse me, and the city council of Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer.
Good evening. My name is Tom O'Malley. I'm with the AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust. Knowing I was coming up here tonight, I pulled my file and looked back to find that it was March of 2013 that I was asked to come up for the first meeting with Charlie Gator, Peggy Phelps, and Jim Cowdell. And one of the results of that meeting was that they gave me a series of master plans that Jim had over in his office over there for economic development, and said, would you be willing to think about being our partner on some of these projects? And I read all of the plans, and without a doubt, the Sasaki plan spoke to me the most. The vision that it contained in there, the corridor, the proximity to the college, and now 3.5 years later, it's tough business. The ferry slip is in, downtown is improved, and I think that this is going to be a fabulous project. And I, on behalf of the Building and Construction Trades Department of the AFL-CIO and the AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust, I'm sure you're going to get a great project, and we're pleased to support it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Come on down.
No, very respectfully to Mr. O'Malley, who's a senior elder, not old, but an elder, okay? I know that all the elders his age, right, have been discussing with everybody how serious it is that we start to really, really focus on family planning, meaning that grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, the children, the great-grandchildren, etc., are going to all be in the future living together. Okay, and it's a very, very serious plan. I'm sure it's whoever, any of you that were at that Zoning Board of Appeals meeting with Mr. Kalman, what was it, last week or the week before? The kids wanted a single-family house on one lot. And he said, excuse me? And they said, how about 2 houses on the lot for now you're talking. Well, Mr. O'Malley, you know, and I've worked with some of his colleagues, and they said, Jeffrey, please do remind everybody that speak up to our elders and respect them, and don't say, you said it, okay? I highly suggest that if you're approving this, which I didn't say you are or you aren't, that you really, really take into consideration some really private, very respectful meetings with Mr. O'Malley's age group, Mr. McCabe's age group, Mr. Dorgan's age group, Mr. Cronin's age group, etc. Some of those folks that are devoted to our city planning for many, many, many years and have families and want to be able to be with them one day. So, you know, before anyone just jumps into building anything, I would respect that on approval of any of these plans, that you very carefully speak to your elders in private and reassure them that, you know, Social Security is not just a paycheck, it's their social security for our future, too. So, you know, when the money gets spent, if we don't take that under advisement with them quietly and privately, even if we have to step back 3 or 4 times instead of jumping into a quick vote, that we might make a real, real good decision. And, you know, in private, I would highly suggest, I'm repeating myself for the 5th time, speak to our elders like Mr. O'Malley, and he's a very well-respected person in our community, right? And we don't want Grammy and Grampy being out in the woods and afraid to talk if they're not sure what we're thinking about. And I don't believe there's anyone in this room that doesn't approve of what I'm talking about having grandma and grandpa around, not, oh my God, where are they? Okay, so it's very, very important for the future of family planning. Please, I'm pleading with all of you upon approval of this plan or any plans, whether we are or not, that we step back and make sure that that's really, really being considered. I know in the past that even though we've all thought we've made really good decisions, some of us are forgetting about that. Okay, so I have been discussing it. I was asked by Mr. Cahill, a roaming city councilor, appointed officially, and I've spent a lot of time on this, and that's the feedback I'm getting from the elders. Please address this for us. And as a representative of the council officially, and speaking for Mr. O'Malley's age group very respectfully, I mean that we need to consider those things. And I have worked with his contemporaries, Mr. Singleton and Mr. Timilty in East Boston also on this housing project, and then they said the same thing, Jeffrey, please tell your colleagues that we need respect, not me's going to make you look good. And I'm saying this in baby talk on purpose, and just say yes to everything without careful planning. Listen to what we're saying first, and then take a step back. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Seeing no one else wish to speak in favor, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. Open the public hearing for those in opposition. Anyone in opposition? Anyone in opposition? Seeing no one in opposition, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in opposition. I close the public hearing. I'm going to turn the chair over to Chairman Bob Stillion of the Planning Board to take initial action.
Basically, is there any comments from the board?
I think it's a great plan, and I'm looking
Commissioner
forward to
Donovan?
vote.
Yes, the plan is well thought out, well written, and we have it in the packets, and we've all had a chance to review it. And based upon the plan, I would recommend to the board that they seriously consider approving this project based upon the criteria listed within the plan. and that it meets the criteria necessary.
Do I have a motion for approval?
Sure, I believe the evidence tonight clearly demonstrates that the project area is, quote, blighted, open, decadent, and substandard, end quote. The project does not contravene any applicable bylaw, ordinance, or local regulation. The project is not inconsistent with the master plan. The project is not detrimental to public safety, health, morals, or the best interest of the city. The project is consistent with the most suitable development of the city. The project constitutes a public use and benefit. The method of relocation, if any, is feasible. I'd like to make a motion that based upon this evidence presented at this public hearing, I move to recommend that the Lynn City Council approve the Mass General Law 121A project proposed by Washington Street Gateway Associates Limited Partnership.
Again, a lot of thought and information went into that. Do we have a second on that motion?
Mm-hmm.
We have a second. Would you please call the question?
Roll call. Steve Upton?
Yes.
Dave Angeli?
Yes.
Paul Price?
Yes.
Robert Stillian?
Yes. Motion passes, and we turn it back to the council and the council president.
Well, thank you very much, Chairman Stillian. What's the wish of the council?
Approved. Second.
Motion has been made to approve and seconded. Any discussion? Point of order from Mr. Lamanna. Is there any specific language in a motion that the council needs to include?
I would recommend to accept the recommendation, if it's the will of the council and it appears to be the recommendation of the planning board, that includes all language necessary for approval.
I'll take that in the form of a motion by Ward 5 City Councilor Diana Chakoudas and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilor Barton, absent Councilor Cahill.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Capano, absent Councilor Chakoudas.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Calucci.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Seer.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor LaPierre.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lozey, absent Councilor Net.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Trahant.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh, absent.
I would only note that there are several councilors not here this evening at no fault of their own. This is a very special meeting that was called. Some folks have previously scheduled vacations. Others are dealing with elections at GE. Other than that, Councilor Chakoudas, is there an emergency on that as well?
Yes, there is.
Motion made for emergency and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilor Barton, absent Councilor Cahill.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Capano, absent Councilor Chakoudas.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Calucci. Yes. Councilor Seer.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor LaPierre.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lozey, absent Councilor Net.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Trahant.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh, absent.
Any other business before the council? Seeing none, Council Calucci makes a motion to adjourn. We ask everyone to respect their elders, and the seconds are made. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
Yeah, thank you. I've had all week out on my pontoon to come up with it.